And all of these little side projects, which kind of make up the game, have really been a distraction from the main project that I've been doing over here. Which is not a bad thing. That's a lot of what makes this game fun. I can just get rid of these additional things over here. And this is the technique that I'm going to use to consolidate most of the resources in my base. Eventually, I'm probably going to put a central storage area over here, for example, where you have a storage bin that's set to automatically pick up things that are only swept, and then you'll have some automation technology that will pick up the debris or whatever is inside the storage bin and drop it right next to it, so then it loses the sweep task. And that way, anytime you build out an area and you want to have... no thank you, I would not like to restart computer, thank you. Let's go another time. Thank you, Windows. So that way, anytime you have an area where you want to clear out the resources, you can just set a sweep task and your duplicants will put all of the materials in one central location, which makes it very easy for you then have your duplicants access all the materials everywhere. And there's a lot of little tips and tricks that you can do to shorten build times in like related fashions, but I'm not going to talk about those at length right now. All right, so we have some duplicants who are idle. We can get additional algae, I think is going to be the task that we're going to do, but you know what, let's get this algae to the priority 8, but in priority 9 we're going to build these electrolyzers. We're going to build at least one. And let's put it over Nya. I'm going to put it out of the way, off to the right, so essentially what's going to happen is the electrolyzer is going to be producing enough oxygen by itself, but it will only provide or produce oxygen as long as the pressure in its area is below a certain amount. And that amount, I believe, is less than 2 kilograms per tile. I'm not sure exactly where it is. So this is very good, quickly going to over-pressurize itself. And let's actually dig out a little bit of this area so it takes a little bit longer. And then the high-pressure oxygen is going to slowly make its way out to the base. However, these oxygen diffusers don't have this property. They will pressurize the base ad infinitum. As long as you have algae available for the oxygen diffusers to work and you supply them with power, they'll keep pressurizing and pressurizing the base. I've never seen an oxygen diffuser being over pressurized, but I can't say for certain that there isn't a point at which they won't become over pressurized. I always stop using them relatively quickly. So these oxygen diffusers essentially have a high priority here because they're going to work and over pressurize the base, and this will only be able to work as long as the pressure remains too low. So it'll basically just pick up the slack. And unfortunately, it will heat up the base a little bit, but the heating will start in this area and slowly work its way over. And what I'm going to do is place some Weezwarts in the way. And as long as the heat is over here, it's going to take time for the heat to make its way over here. There's essentially all the thermal mass in between works as a form of insulation. And as long as the insulation is enough to keep the flow of heat below a certain level, even if this is, like, say, at 1,000 degrees, which is completely ridiculous, if I had enough distance in between here and here, a few Weezwarts would be able to keep this at a balmy, like 30 degrees or below 30 degrees. Because you don't need to stop all the heat. This isn't generating heat. This is setting materials at a particular heat. If this was dumping like a constant source of kilo DTUs of heat, eventually it will overload whatever insulation you have in between. But because this stays at a set heat, it can only get here so fast. Sorry, that's a bit of a convoluted explanation. I'm going to be doing a video relatively soon that goes over some heat mechanics and ways of keeping your base cool using Weezwarts in the early game, explaining specifically what I'm going to be doing in the next few videos with Weezwarts. But this video is going on long enough. I'm not going to focus too much on that right here. So let's build that electrolyzer. Let's hook this up using some heavy watt wire. And then I'm going to add a liquid pipe, put a liquid bridge just to make sure things work smoothly. Hook that up. All it takes is an input because the output is gases that come out from the device. You don't need actually any gas outputs. If you check the gas tab, nothing in my base currently requires gas outputs except for these gas pumps. And that should be that. All right. So now I shouldn't hit any emergency situations where I run out of oxygen, but it is still important to continue collecting this algae because otherwise the base will start overheating. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. This over here, all of this. put a ladder up here. Again, I'm probably going to move this ladder over eventually, but not currently. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's have that happen. This happen. Excuse me. Alright, that's going well. I'm going to go ahead and put this farm tiles in place now. I'll put them right up here. Okay, I'll take out 3. Shouldn't be too much heat radiating over here. This is fine. We have some good insulation. And whenever they have an opportunity, they'll come and place this, and then I can put probably quite a lot of seeds that I have. 15 mealwood seeds. I already have enough to have my entire food production being just this mealwood. Is that correct? Yeah. Just enough to have a bit more. So I'm actually going to build a few additional plants beyond. This reminds me, I should probably stop the mush bar production. I have too many. I'll build a few more plants than are required. Like this is exactly enough. Oops, sorry, I need one more plant. There we go. This is exactly enough. But I'll build a few more just so I can start building up an extra supply. A little bit of overage is fine. I don't want too much because then they'll start rotting. But maybe 3 additional plants, just a few. But I'll build all the farm tiles. So whenever I want to, I can go ahead and dramatically increase the number of plants that I have. So that's going just fine. This is going just fine. I have this. The electrolyzer is producing hydrogen, which is going to make its way up to the top of the base. This is a very easy way of collecting all your hydrogen and moving it out of the way. I like to just put a gas pump up here with an element sensor that detects when there's hydrogen down below. And as long as the hydrogen has been, it's just been hydrogen for more than like say 5 or 10 seconds, and the pressure is above a certain amount, then I can be confident that there's a big pool of dense hydrogen up here, and I can freely pump that hydrogen down into my base to either be stored or go directly to some hydrogen generators, and that's way more power than this electrolyzer uses. In fact, it's enough to power the electrolyzer and the pump supplying the electrolyzer, at least for the water that's going to the electrolyzer, and then give even more power to your base. So it's a very useful device. Do I want... Yes, I will get ice. And I'm going to put a storage bin here. Excuse me. Actually, I'll put it down here just because otherwise this will overflow. And I'll put the liquefiables in there. So I'm not going to put polluted ice in there, but I will put snow and ice in there. And that's going to prevent the ice from eventually heating up enough to liquefy and causing water to go all over the place. Right, let's get rid of this dirt. Very nice. Okay, let's pause this for a moment. So once I'm done with this, I can deal with that. So put this priority 9. We have liquefiable. Nice. So this will put all of the ice in here so that when eventually it liquefies, it's right inside our pool of water. And who is suffocating? Ellie is suffocating, and they have no way to escape. So we have to deconstruct one of these tiles, and I'll put that on priority 9. Alright, and Ellie's fine. So let's put that farm tile back. So I'm glad I paused the game there, otherwise I would have lost a duplicate. Which is a no-no. Okay. Oh, and I forgot to connect that all the way up. Alright, so eventually they'll get up there, and they can start getting this gold amalgam, which I only... Oh, I have 5.3 tons already. So I'm pretty much okay. I'm not going to bother digging any more out and dealing with this polluted water at this point, but I will dig this out and deal with the polluted oxygen. All right. So let's get rid of this. Oh, sorry, let's put it... Yeah, it's happening anyways. Okay. All right. So here I'm going to need to have a liquid pipe supplying this. So this is a good question. This always depends on exactly where you situate this structure, because you're going to need to have all your pipes coming into here to supply the inputs and then coming back out. And you don't want to have a weird spaghetti, like a spaghetti factory with pipes all over the place, like taking up all the room. So as much as you can space them out and then have them kind of just come together naturally, that's what you want to kind of do. So I'm going to start with water, which I know I want to have coming up here. So I'll have this water, eventually it'll come down here and come up that way. So I'll have it come up this way, jump over there with a liquid bridge. Then it will connect to here instead of having this connection, which I can force it to happen effectively right now by doing that. But you know what, I'll just leave it be. That way it can run out this water. Okay, very good. So it'll come out that way. And I'll have this be the supply. Okay. And I want my polluted water. I have no use for polluted water right now, although there are some very useful uses of it later. Like, for example, irrigating pinch of pepper nut, which I'm going to use to make barbecue. In the previous build of the game, barbecue was the premier food source. It provided the soul food buff, which caused a continuous decrease in stress, even if your duplicant has less morale than they need. And it had like the maximum morale bonus. Currently, I don't think it's the best anymore. I believe it's just about the best, so I'm still aiming for barbecue because I know that it's going to be an excellent food source. But I may eventually switch my base over to the best food source, which is probably one of the ones you make with sleet wheat now. So I'll have to just double check that, which I'll do in probably one of my module videos or in-depth videos. Probably the in-depth videos. Okay, so that's good. I have the water set up to go into the base. I need the polluted water to come down here, and it's just going to sit there. I probably want to have the polluted water go over to the sieve if I need more water. So I guess I'll want the polluted water to come up over here. So it will be one of the ones that runs back up the top. So let's have the polluted water go like this. Okay. And so it can... We'll have the polluted water itself come down like so. Okay. So it'll come down like this. And come out there. And I'll have it come back out of the storage system on this side of the pipe. Should I have it go a little bit further over? It's a little bit less work if I have it go right here. So I'll have it go like that. And for now, I'll just use a liquid bridge to connect it, although later on, yeah, liquid bridge to connect it is more than sufficient. Later on, I'll end up redirecting the pipes up here so that they go down here first. But for now, this is more than good enough. Okay. So I want my water to come down like so. So all of my water sources coming from places like this steam vent, once it cools down a little bit, and these pools of water will eventually be connecting to this pipe, which will come... Oh, sorry, this is the polluted water pipe. I have this the wrong way around. That's good. And then this is where the polluted water is going to come in from. Okay. So let's disconnect this pipe. And I'll just connect these up later on. Okay. So that's good. The water is more or less ready to go. The polluted water is more or less ready to go. I'll just need to change a few things around up here once these pipes have all been built. Next, I'm going to need to deal with carbon dioxide. But rather than working out all the specifics of how this hookup is going to work, I think I'm just going to finish actually building the setup itself. And then I'm going to call that a video, and I'll finish that off in the next video. So let's put the mechanized airlocks in place, try to vacuum this system out so that I don't have unnecessary elements that I don't want. And then I'm going to build the automation at the top, and that should be it. So, but we'll complete this part here because it will be useful in the next video. Okay. So one thing I am going to build is a gas cruncher. I'm going to build essentially one of these systems and use it to delete all the gas in here. So I think I'm going to end up making this one taller than originally intended. Does that seem like a good idea? Or should I make it one smaller than originally intended? Okay, that should be fine. I'm going to make it one taller. Or you know what? I'm going to put the gas cruncher just over here on the left, and eventually I'll just delete it. I may as well. I'll just put it right here. That's fine. Sorry for the confusion there. Let's build one more. Let's dig this out. Very good. The difference between this design and the other designs is that this one is going to be a jury-rigged version that's going to delete whatever goes into it. And I'm going to leave the door open. So all of the gases are just going to be deleted, deleted, deleted until eventually this entire thing is void of resources. So I'll wall this off here at the top. And once this is finished being voided of resources, then I'll have these doors close or something along those lines. Perhaps I'll be able to actually make this work without having to go through all that effort. All right, I know what I'm going to do. I've built these with the intention that they're able to handle 2 pumps per. So I'm going to end up putting a gas pump in each of these. And what I'll do is just run the system dry with whatever gas happens to be inside. And I'll let it dry run for a while until this area is clean. So I can just go ahead and make those, hook them up with some conductive wire, and this will just run fine. And let's put that in place like that so that it's ready for the next one. This whole structure does not need to be built. So I'll just leave that be, but I'll leave that in place because eventually I will extend this downwards. All right, fantastic. So this is working just fine. Just make sure that they can get in through all these doors. Somebody made a mess. Okay. Is there a problem with water supply? No, water supply is just fine. Okay, good. So that was just happened to be there. They were too far away from the bathroom, or the bathroom was being used. Okay. Excellent. So next thing I want is a bunch of mechanized airlocks. I'm going to build them like so. Oops. There. I'm going to just build 2 rows because once I've built the outer ones, duplicates will be able to get out from inside a bunch of locked doors because these automation wires are red, so the doors will automatically lock. But they won't, I don't think, be able to access the innermost tasks. So I'll just leave it like this and set this to priority 9. Switch this back to priority 5 like I intended to originally. There we go. Get those done, and then I'll just have the next layer, then the next layer completed. Okay, once that's all done, the compressors are finished. I just need to do the automation at the top, close these doors, finished setting up whatever inputs they're going to be, and then I can have these run, clear themselves out, and then we'll be good to go. Some bristleberry. Nice, nice, nice. Very good, very good. As those finish, I can tell new tasks to be completed. Oh, are my duplicates trapped here? Yes, they are. Okay, okay. So I need to have them construct a ladder. And you know what? That's an emergency. Let's get this done quickly. All of the tasks are no longer important as long as I have this emergency, any emergency task being completed. So now they should be fine and be able to get themselves back into the rest of the colony. No, I am incorrect about that. They cannot access the colony. Let's put some tiles like this, and they should be fine. All right, they're already safe, but there we go. Now everything's fine. Luckily before the day ended, so I didn't have to cause them to miss some vital like bathroom time or eating time with my emergency. Right, excellent. So let's build another liquid vent. Make sure that we can get all the water that we need into this. So the water needs to come like so. Okay. My duplicants, they should be able to access everything. Okay, but they're all idle. That's fine. That gets in, that gets out. This needs some way in and out, but I can deal with that later. I don't know what I'm going to put in here yet. Excuse me. Let's put some gas vents here. So this is going to be for carbon dioxide. This one's going to be for perhaps natural gas. So I'm going to have... I'll put this one up like so. This one will go up like so. And this one will go up like so. Okay, I can get rid of this little extra now. I'm not going to increase the priority on that because my main priority is just to finish off the actual structure of this build. I will increase the priority on everything in here because I want to be able to close these off, and that involves having everything that needs to be in here finished. Okay, very good. We're just about finished. We need one more layer of mechanized airlocks. One technique I really like for placing doors and things that are uneven and you just need to go in one direction. Rather than pressing shift, I like to actually just move the camera because you have a lot of control over the camera motion and it doesn't go too fast. If you press shift and hold, you can still sometimes go too fast and it ends up leaving gaps. Like I believe I can probably reduce this. Press shift and... oh, nope, no problem. No problem at all. This becomes more of an issue when you have a much larger base and your computer starts to lag out. It's also more of an issue, I believe, if the computer is running the game. So let's try this again. Nope, still no issue. So it's not a problem yet. All right, we're just about done here. We're going to need to set up some automation on this right to activate these gas pumps, even when otherwise they wouldn't be necessary. So let's go ahead. So we'll put some automation wire, goes out to here, to there, to there. This is going to run just like this, goes down like that. So this one right here, let's actually have this go up like this, just to be consistent with the other ones. Put all of that up to priority 9. Do we have anything that can activate an automation wire? No, so we'll need to do one more bit of research. Let's see here. Where can we find a switch? I'm surprised we don't already have access. We do have access to signal switches. Why don't we see them? There it is. Okay. It would be better to use some sort of element sensor or temperature sensor because you can make those turn on and off by changing what temperature it's trying to read, and that doesn't require any duplicate input. But for the sake of brevity, I'm just going to use these signal switches, which require duplicate input. No, I won't use the signal switches. They're actually... waiting for a duplicate to come and actually complete a task can be quite a problem. I'd mostly like to use a thermal switch. Not sure where it is in this current build. There it is. That's a bit far away, so you know I'll go for this Atmos sensor, which is just about as good. Okay, and once that's done, which is just one research task, I'll be able to place them over here, turn all of these pumps. So currently, I'm going to have the gas pumps come out like so. Just over to the right of where this is. And they are all going to dump their contents as long as this automation is turned on. And eventually, once these start actually storing gases, I'll turn off this automation, disconnect this from the bit that's trying to keep this getting rid of whatever's inside, and then I'll reconnect this to wherever I actually want it to go. So this is only a temporary measure, but we'll leave the gas pump inside in case something goes wrong and we need to evacuate all the contents. So let's put a gas vent here, 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 and here. Okay. Automation, I believe it finished. Yep. Let's just place these. Salt to priority 9. Very good, it's all working. Let's clear out this additional material here. Okay, can't reach that, so I'll just get rid of that task. Okay, very good. I'm going to bump this up to priority 9 so they get that done quickly. As soon as the next task or the next cycle comes around. And I'm going to change these all to auto. Oops. So I'll have to do that manually. Oops. They can still access it, so let's use this opportunity to get rid of any additional detritus that's made its way inside. There's nothing there. Everything on the left has been gotten rid of. Now I can get rid of the duplicate access permissions because there's no longer any reason for them to come inside. I'll do the same over here, everywhere except for this one area that still doesn't have its tasks complete. So this is an unreachable build. Ah, okay, because I didn't put any tiles there. Good. Whoops, that is too high of a priority. There we go. Let's finish this off. All right. So there's still some gases over here on the left, so we need to keep these running until not only is this evacuated, but also this area is evacuated. So once we build the automation, then we're going to be good to go. And that'll be the end of this video. All right, so let's start constructing this device. And the automation for this is really quite simple. So each of these is going to require a buffer gate, and normally I put this at the bottom, but with this new build, I'm just going to put this at the top so I can expand downwards. All right. The one at the front is going to need some additional automation coming to it. So let's go ahead and hook this up. So that's hooked up just fine. These are all going to be hooked up. Is that right? The same way. Yep. This is going to come up here. That's going to go like that. Nice. So this is just going to be the same hookup that is in the original module video. Nothing has changed here so far except that it's at the bottom instead of at the top. Or sorry, it's at the top instead of the bottom. What does this require? That's hooked up just fine. This needs to have a delayed signal going to it. Oh, sorry. The wrong one has received all that stuff. So let's just place that again. They all require buffer gates. When this opens up, this one needs to stay closed, so it has a delayed reaction. All right, so it's going to have its own wire heading to it. So it's going to be fine going out like this. Everything else is going to have their wires all open up at the same time. Okay, very good. So that's going to work just fine. Then this one is going to get, it's going to wait some period of time, so it gets a filter gate before it, and it's going to get a buffer gate before that, because it needs to get the signal propagating long enough to get through the filter gate. All right, very good. Now all that remains is to have some source of a positive automation signal that flashes once all this is done. So what I did in the module video was have it so that when all of these are off, I had a series of AND gates. So these would each have a NOT gate, so that when all of them are off, they'd all be sending positive signals. And I have a bunch of AND gates to check that all of them were positive at the same time. And if that was the case, and after a small delay, it would send off a positive signal to the device. And as soon as it starts to open up the doors, it breaks the state of having all the automation signals off. So then this signal turns off and it's able to actually complete a cycle. But in this case, what I'm going to do is have it wait longer than the entire runtime of this device, plus maybe 5 or 10 seconds, and then it'll flash on. And all it needs to do is run for 1 tick. So let's see here. All right, so what I'm going to do is place a filter gate and a NOT gate. And this is a design that's very useful for some other structures. For example, if you want to create a cruncher, there's a way of using these mechanized airlocks to destroy falling material like sand or regolith up on the surface. So if you have meteors impacting, you can let the regolith that collects fall down into your like matter crunchers, and they'll destroy all of the falling materials, which allows, for example, your solar panels to continue working. It allows your telescopes to continue working. So let's actually just build a device rather than continue to explain. So I just need a NOT gate, which I'm going to have facing over here on the left. Okay, can I reach up that high? Yes, I can. And I'm going to have a filter gate facing over to the right. Cool. And I'm hooked them up, input to output, input to output. Or sorry, output to input, output to input. And then the filter gate is going to aim off and just connect right here. So what's going to happen is the filter gate has a standard delay of 5 seconds. So this filter gate is going to start by being off, which means that this signal is going to be off over here. It's going to be red, which means that this NOT gate is going to turn that into a green signal. So as long as this is off, this is going to turn into a green signal over here. The filter gate is going to wait 5 seconds after this turns green, and then it's going to allow a green signal to go off to the right, which is going to cause this NOT gate to cause a red signal to go, which will turn off the filter gate after a 1 tick flash of a green signal. This will turn off, which will cause the filter gate to immediately then after turn off. And then the cycle repeats because this is again off. This will be red, and so this will make it green. Over here, this will wait 5 seconds, then it'll turn green for 1 moment, and then as soon as this is turned green for long enough to cause this to receive the green signal and this all to receive the green signal which it needs, it'll continue the loop. So all I need to do is make sure that this filter gate has a longer delay than the entire runtime of 1 cycle of operation of this, plus a few seconds extra. If you saw my video on the game going weird, talking about some properties of doors, the game is funky. The opening and closing times of doors are not consistent. If you change the game speed from normal speed, faster, fastest, or super speed, doors could close in 3 in-game seconds. They could close in 7 in-game seconds. The amount of power that they draw changes. A lot of other physical effects of these doors changes. It's very variable, and that's a lot of the reason why I use the original series of AND gates, because it removes any guesswork in how long these doors are going to take to open and close, because all you need to do is have enough of a delay after the AND structure works to make sure you deal with a little bit of variability to be fine. This, you have to be very confident in your prediction. So I would err quite far on the side of caution. If you think your system's going to run in 30 seconds, maybe give yourself 40 or 45 seconds as a realistic estimate of how long the system's going to take to run, just to make sure you don't end up destroying matter or having something weird working, like your matter goes the wrong direction consistently and then it stops running. Okay. Destroying matter should never happen. Even if this is incorrect in its timing and it went off all the time, it would never cause this system to destroy matter, I don't believe. Okay. So let's hook this up. I want this door to wait 8 seconds. This one's going to be 12 seconds. Again, this is the same procedure that I went through in the module video. It's just 4 seconds each time. This one is going to be 20 seconds, but I'm going to wait 8 seconds for this. Okay. So I'm going to remove 8 seconds from that, so it goes down to 12. And this is going to have any amount that's higher than 8 seconds, so I'll just put 9 seconds just to make sure that the signal actually gets through for a second. So now if I let this run, so the longest running one of these doors is 20 seconds. So I'm going to give this a 30-second delay. So let's check once it has a moment to actually stabilize. We should see, good, it's working just fine. And I'm actually going to move this down to the slowest possible speed and watch this operate once, just to make sure that this door is in fact closed, or these 2 doors are not open at the same time. Okay, everything looks fine so far. All these doors should open simultaneously. Very good. And then this door, as long as this doesn't finish opening before this door finishes closing, we're going to be fine. This has already started opening, which is not good. Okay, so this just very slightly manages to complete it in time. So I may have mistimed something somewhere, but what I'm going to do is have this filter last for 9 seconds. I'll have this run for 10 seconds, and I'll decrease the open time to 11 seconds. So now it should work just fine. I'm going to increase the speed to the maximum speed without going to super speed. Go back to minimum. Okay. Okay, so we have the length of time from here to here that this door will remain open. I'm not quite comfortable with that. I'm actually going to make this a little bit faster, but at that, I'm just going to go ahead and make this 8 seconds. No, I'll make this 10 seconds. Okay. 10 seconds, and this one gets to be 11 seconds. All right, so I'm just going to trust this from this point out. I'm not going to bother with checking this anymore because I know it should be working. Okay, so now over time, this is going to take all the gases. Let's go to F4 actually. Check the gas tab. It's going to take all these gases. There's already very little gas, just a few grams, and compress them over to the right. And these systems will take all of this gas and force it out. So let's see, is there some reason why this isn't going? Okay, it was probably just overcompressed. Okay. Now why isn't this one sending anything off? Oh, okay. So I should set this to make sure that they are all running. Send a green signal if it is below the maximum pressure. Cool. Everything is much below that, so we can, without any duplicate input, force all of these things to turn to green and get rid of all the gas over here. So as soon as these have finished evacuating their contents, then we have a bunch of fully operational storage structures. If you put any liquids in here, it will store an infinite amount without any problems. If you put any gases over here, it will store an infinite amount with any problems. And in my next video, I'm going to move all the liquids and gases that I'm trying to store into this storage structure. And then there was something else that I said I was going to focus on. I can't remember what it was, but I'm going to do that too. All right. I hope you enjoyed this marathon video. If you enjoyed, please make sure to like, favorite, and subscribe. And have a good day.